Alright, hello everyone. Vicky Verley here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. I'm going to take a look at the new moon chart for September 5th. And really this is kind of like an overall outlook for the month of September. And this is for all signs. This is the energy affecting us all. Well, it's quite a beautiful thing here still. I mean, it's just... here's the new moon point over here at 13 Virgo, and we do have a lot of energy in Virgo. But to me, it's all pivoting on this south node. Everything is in the south node. There's definitely like a 3D pyramid here. So with the grand trine in Earth, and then we bring in the squares to the fixed squares of this is a point in this pyramid, and it's the 5 Mars in Leo, and then we bring in Juno over here, the asteroid Juno, which has to do with like love and beauty and stuff. Mars in Leo to me is just raw. This is sexuality. You know, this is Leo, summertime, hot and sweaty. that's just what Mars and Leo to me is. You know, on a negative point, Mars and Leo can be being over aggressive, overly egotistical, you know, with the Leo and the Mars. But it's physical activity too. It's sports for sure. You know, it's sports and everything. But I just feel I'm sweating, or even if you've had like a good run or something and you're just all covered in sweat, but in a good way, you feel better. Release it. That's a way to release it. But everything's pivoting on this south node. And then there is a grand cross, or whatever you want to call this. There's a big square here in the fixed signs again. North and south node are involved. Saturn's involved. Mars and Juno here. So, but what I feel like this is relationships. This Mars, Juno, and south node. So these are maybe people from your past. These are people from your past lives, past incarnations. We got to work on South Node Taurus issues, everybody. And South Node Taurus usually is greed. You know, that's greed, you know, gluttony, those kind of things, the overindulgence of Taurus. You know, eat, drink, and be merry, you know, too much. Not really the psychedelic-y Pisces. We're on drugs and we're after the high. More of Taurus is just more, I can't stop doing it. You know, I'm just overindulging. I'm just, you know, I'm like the guy with the grapes in his on his head, and you know, wine's dripping down his face, and you know, a big leg of lamb in his hand or something. You know, that's the kind of vibe that is. You know, this gluttony thing and sloth. You know, Taurus is definitely can be on the lazy side. You know, they can just be very lazy, and that's so these are the things that maybe we've all got to work on. And you know, and I'm feeling all this physical activity too, so maybe yeah, let's start working out or whatever. But you know, lazy is not just in the physical. You know, you can be lazy in your life in a lot of different ways. And Mars and Leo is definitely not. It's like, get up and go, let's do it. Mars and Leo and Juno, this is a physical attraction too. This is, I like the way you look. You know, it's not all deep. You know, it's not all deep Pisces, Neptune, Scorpio stuff. This is just on the surface of your physical, there's a physical attraction. And that could happen. And that person could be an old lover coming back, or and past life, from a past life thing. Overindulgence, though, is the key I feel on this. And then in the grand trine in Earth, which the new moon point is involved in here with 13 degrees of Virgo, trining this, and also the third part of that is Pluto. And then there's, you know, we tie in here with the Earth and water here, trines and sextiles. We've got the Jupiter over here. You know, with the Virgo, this part of it, the Jupiter, this new moon point, almost an exact sextile with the Jupiter here, with the Cancer. You know, that I could see that going hand in hand, and I want to refer it back to like healthcare. I think that's a big key thing to it. Women with the Cancer, health issues. What else was I going to say? Food. Both of these two signs also relate to food. And then with Pluto, there's these upheavals in things. And in Capricorn, there's these upheavals with, the structure, the structure that be, the things that are in place, the structures that are there. Before we get in too deep, back to these beautiful aspects. There's lots of pyramids, but there's this 3D one here I see, and of course there's some other ones here and here and here. But look at this center thing, this opposition with the Saturn in Scorpio and the node, and then there's these X's. And it's like, could be a dragonfly, but it also really reminds me of just a spark of light. How you would illustrate a spark of light. Like I was messing around with this, I printed it out and put this up here. So that's what I drew, for this, this thing up here. And it's like it is this portal. It really, really is. And this is a spark of light coming through. This is the spark of inspiration, the spark of the divine. It's this, so what would it be? 1, 2, there's 6 points to it. But it's like how you illustrate a sparkle or something that's shiny. This is my graphic design background. You put those little white things on there, like little asterisk things. That's what that is. And it's coming through. It's a bright light. And this part, I drew that too. This part, this fixed squares here, this grand cross or mystic triangle, I don't know. People are calling it all sorts of things. But what it is, it's there's a square from Mars to the node, to Juno, to Saturn node over here. So these are squares. But to me it looks like a framework. And I drew a picture. I drew a little picture for that. I hope you can see it. Here, this is the framework. So there's this framework and we're able to hold ourselves up because everything with this water energy, this grand trident water, everything's in flux, and then the water can just flow under and flow on by and like wash that thing right out of your hair, and this water's flowing by, but you're not getting washed away. We don't have to get washed away. We can brace this like a brace. This square here is like holding everything in a structure. And with Saturn in the node, it's meant to be. And I just don't feel like this is anything I know normally it's friction and all that. And with Mars, we could say it's friction, but I don't feel like it's bad. It's like the framework. It's like it's holding everything in place in perfection. So then we've got that. We've got the dragonfly sparkle thing in the middle. We've got all these pyramids and trines too, but what did I just see? There's these other, like a butterfly or a greater than, less than symbol or something like that. That's going on too, but it's equal. It's not, one is not greater. Excuse me, I get something to drink. I was my frog in my throat. One is not greater than the other. So there's balance and harmony here. I know it's astrology-wise, a grand cross, maybe not, but it's giving a structure. I feel like it's giving structure. And with Pluto involved in all this stuff, and the Saturn in Scorpio, which is that mutual reception, it's the energy of Capricorn and Scorpio, and the energy of Saturn and Pluto is involved in this. So, both are deep. Saturn, Capricorn and Scorpio, they're deep. They are not superficial. They're pretty serious kind of people. And both have longevity. Both are practical. Scorpio is always going to change, though. Pluto is always going to make changes. With Scorpio, you always can tie in, the sexuality, aspect of it. That could be part of it. But, Scorpios are not always out running around screwing everybody, just to be real blunt. I mean, Scorpios are not like that in any way. They're pretty deep people. And they think, oh, Scorpio, they're just, there's this elevated sexual, but it's smoldering with Scorpios. And I've known Scorpios that have gone celibate for years. They're very much in control of the way they're perceived, and they don't go around like willy-nilly. I know that's such a corny old-time saying, but that's what I want to say. All right, sorry for the interruption, but what I was saying is that Scorpios are real deep. Venus in Libra, that's more of that kind of energy. That's more of that, just superficial, love me, a butterfly, social butterfly, you know, going from one flower to the next. You know, that's more Venus and Libra. Scorpio is not that way, and it's, you know, that's a kind of maybe a little bit of a misconception about that. And Scorpios, you know, think things through and look at it deep from all angles. You know, they don't make decisions on the fly or lightly. They don't make decisions lightly. They put a lot of thought and some deep stuff into it. You know, with all, and there is kind of like a serious tone here, period, because of all this Virgo energy. Virgos are not really, you know, it's not party time. And it's kind of, you know, fitting, because it's this time of the year. It's like we get back to school, we get back to work. You know, summer is coming to an end. You know, that's this kind of vibe. All right, I know there's a lot of astrology here, and I could get real into it, but I like just looking at it and giving my psychic vibes. And it's just such a, you know, there's just such a really cool bunch of aspects going on. And again, it's 3D. It's glistening. It's sparkling. It's sparkling for sure. It's not flat. It's not 2D. It's 3D. And it's like, too, this is almost like an atom in here or something. Like this sparkle thing or dragonfly, whatever. It's like holding open a portal. It really does seem that way. I know astrologers out there are freaking out. What is she talking about? You know, but I see it here. I see it in here, and it's 3D. Or like a jack. Remember when you were kids, you played jacks? You know, the thing, and the actual jack itself, where it has this point in the middle, and then these things sticking out all around it. That's what it looks like. And then there's definitely like pyramid power involved too. So this is, I know that this is tied into some, you know, well, look at, you know, I keep saying pyramid, and look at Egypt. You know, there is a lot, there has been, you know, hello McFly. You know, there has been a lot of stuff in Egypt, but it just feels like this energy, I don't know, maybe it's because there's such a concentration of energy. When I was feeling, I wasn't really thinking about the riots and the upheaval and everything that's happening over there. I was thinking about, I think that there's, you know how there's certain times when light shines in those pyramids. It's only at the solstice or whatever, and it makes, that's what these look like these beams of light shining through, and then there's only certain times a year. It's something like that. And it may not, I should have probably looked it up, but it just came to me just now. It may not be that exact thing necessarily, and probably isn't, but it's happening on an energetic level, whether we can perceive it out, you know, on Earth, in the pyramid or what, but it's tied into that. And it's definitely like Stargate, man. It's really, this is opening this up, and it's like an atom. And you know, isn't it atoms are all made of space anyway, or something of this really small particles are just, I believe it's an atom. They're just made of open space, and that's what this feels like. It's like I'm pushing it stems from here, and I'm pushing it open, and all this beams of light and energy are pouring through. I mean, that's really what it looks like. Okay, but astrology-wise, you know, earth and water people, you're getting aspected heavily. The fixed signs are probably going to be more affected, more brushed up against, more have their feathers ruffled, and that's going to be Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Well, Scorpios are getting it anyway with this Saturn in the first house. That's going to happen later this month, and I will get into that more in the full moon reading for this month. But that is very powerful. I think it's kind of already settled in. I think all this turmoil is kind of leading up to it, and it's just like ding, like the ding, the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, when it actually, you know, when it actually happens, that the work's been done. And I think for Scorpios especially, you know, or Scorpio risings, like you've done the work, and this is just, you know, okay, I'm here, I'm here, so I'm ready. I'm ready for the next cycle to unfold. That's going to be a big part of this too. And again, with the 7 year, and I think it's going to join at 8 degrees, I think, which is again 8 years, like a quarter cycle of Saturn. You know, 28 to 30 is the full cycle of Saturn. But the square, the quarter turns, those are relevant. And when you find things happening in these 7-8 year cycles, you know that there's a Saturn influence as well. Think back Think back 7, 8 years ago, 7, 14, 28. Think back those years and see. It won't be exactly the same because the planets are different and then the node wasn't involved the last time, but think back on that, and if, the older you are, the further back you can go, and see what was happening then, because these things definitely are cyclical. And you're going to see, very often you'll see like the same patterns or the same things kind of coming to the forefront once again. And then maybe you can, ideally, with nodes and Saturn, ideally this time you'll handle it better. And then there's that Chiron and all that energy too. Chiron's opposed this point here. And what I was talking about last time about forgiving yourself. And if you're going back and reliving this thing, oh, if only I had done that. Oh, if only I had done that. Why didn't I do that? Why did I do that? Cut it out. But something similar like that is going to could happen again. Think about it. I mean, give yourself a little bit of a wide berth. It's people get too persnickety about things. Well, you said it was going to be the same thing, but last time I broke up with this guy, and this time it's this different guy, and blah blah blah. Well, you were going through a breakup both times. Please, relax. And by being this persnickety, you're not allowing the lesson or the learning to come through. So give yourself some wide berth. Just think about it. I'm not trying to point any fingers or make you face anything you don't want to, maybe, but just lay back, think about it. And I think that there's some similar things, and maybe you will get the chance to handle it differently this time. Maybe you can do it differently. You absolutely can. You can only do it in the now. You can't change the past. So stop playing that broken record. I heard that on somebody's YouTube. I like that saying a lot. Get rid of that old broken record. Stop playing it. All right. But enough of downers. Brace yourself. There you are. This is the way. Get yourself in place. Allow this water to come through and wash away all this stuff. I recently went to a funeral in a Catholic church, and they wash away the sins of the world. That's a good line. That's almost like kind of what this vibe is. And not sins, but that kind of vibe, where you feel punishing, but we talked about that already. Okay, so anyways, I think this is beautiful. I think this is some beautiful energy, and there's going to be light available to those who want it. It's going to be there, and let's just try to tune in there and get it. Let's get in there. All right, so anyways, this is Vicki Verley, the rock and roll prophetess. Remember, you're love and beauty incarnate. If you like these free videos, I appreciate any donation. There's none too small. Also, if you'd like to get a private reading, you can check my main page. And on the Tapestry of Life page, I'm going to be adding, within a week, I'll be adding a lot of new services, different, smaller, more affordable astrology reports that you can order. And it's on the order page of my Tapestry of Life Mandala site. Okay, until next time,